be a bitch, but I'm the bitch that runs this division.
Becky Lynch has been away from WWE TV for almost a year now. She left after announcing she was expecting her first child with fellow WWE Superstar Seth Rollins back in May 2020. The former Raw Women's Champion was then forced to relinquish her championship to Asuka before heading off on maternity leave. The man then announced the arrival of her daughter, Roux, back in December, before Seth Rollins made his return to the company, as part of the Royal Rumble match earlier this year. Whilst Rollins has integrated himself back into the SmackDown roster, and is preparing for a WrestleMania match, with former friend Cesaro, the WWE Universe still awaits the return of Becky Lynch. WWE has several different options when it comes to bringing the man back to the WWE Universe. The following list looks at just 5 potential options that WWE has at their disposal. Number 5. Becky Lynch could return to WWE as part of the SmackDown brand. Becky Lynch wasn't drafted to a specific brand as part of the latest WWE draft. This means that WWE has the option of sending Lynch to either SmackDown or Raw when she is ready to make her official return. Lynch was the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, and had some incredible moments in her career on the SmackDown brand. It was whilst working over on the Blue brand that she became the man after SmackDown back in 2018. At present, aside from the Women's Championship picture, the SmackDown Women's locker room could do with the boost that Becky Lynch would bring. Bayley has not been seen for several weeks, Carmella has disappeared from WWE TV, and right now the focus is solely on Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks heading into WrestleMania. Becky Lynch was once the savior of the SmackDown Women's division. It's easy to see the Irish lasskicker lacing up her boots, and heading over to SmackDown once again in order to dish out some punishment. Number 4. Becky Lynch could return and step into a storyline with her fiancé Seth Rollins. It's become well known over the past year that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are in a relationship outside of WWE. The couple worked together in the fall of 2019, and were able to come out on top in an intergender winner-takes-all match, against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans at Extreme Rules. Whilst there were members of the WWE Universe who didn't agree with the two stars being put into a team, it was an interesting storyline that allowed the two stars to work together. Lynch has not wrestled in almost a year. By the time she returns, it will have been much longer, so perhaps it's not a bad idea to have the former women's champion come to the aid of her partner when she does. Working with Rollins will allow Becky Lynch to get back into the mix of things, and pick up a decent feud on SmackDown. This could then push into any upcoming pay-per-views. Number 3. WWE could finally set up the Becky Lynch vs Ronda Rousey rematch. Becky Lynch is the only woman in WWE to have ever pinned Ronda Rousey. Since her loss at WrestleMania 35, the baddest woman on the planet has been missing from WWE. It was believed that Vince McMahon initially wanted this match to take place at WrestleMania 37. Unfortunately, this would have been too soon for Lynch to make her return, and it's unknown what Rousey's current WWE status is. The company could instead set up a rematch for a few months down the line where the two women instead do battle in the main event of SummerSlam. Whilst the women have main evented the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, they haven't been given the chance at SummerSlam as of yet. That could all change this year. Rousey and Becky Lynch could finally be handed their rematch at the biggest party of the summer. It would allow the man to step straight back into action and pick up where she left off last year. Number 4. Becky Lynch could be sent over to Monday Night Raw. Becky Lynch was the Raw Women's Champion when she made her announcement last year and was forced to hand the title over to Asuka. The former champion could be sent back to the Raw brand when she makes her return to WWE. After all, she has a few loose ends to tie up. Asuka and Becky Lynch were obviously set for a rivalry if Lynch had been able to continue wrestling after Money in the Bank, so that could be something WWE could explore. There are also rumors that Shayna Baszler was set to win the contract, until WWE received the news that Lynch wouldn't be able to compete for a while. The winner was then changed to Asuka. This means that Shayna Baszler definitely has some unfinished business with Becky Lynch. Since the two women have already collided at WrestleMania, it would be interesting to see a rematch, and that allows Baszler to come out on top and have the push that she deserves. Number 1. Becky Lynch could come for the Raw Women's Championship that she never lost. This is probably Becky Lynch's most likely return angle. One of WWE's favorite storyline loops is when a WWE star relinquishes a title, and is then able to regain it. The man didn't lose her title last year, she was forced to hand it over, because she could no longer defend it. This means that she could be looking to regain it when she makes her return. It's currently unclear who will be holding the title after WrestleMania. If it's Rhea Ripley, the WWE Universe could be in for an interesting collision should Becky Lynch be able to make return heading into SummerSlam. Edge relinquished the World Championship after suffering a neck injury almost a decade ago. He is now ready to win the Universal Championship in its place. It is seen as the perfect way to return to the company. Becky Lynch is the kind of wrestler who would definitely want to have her title back around her waist where it belongs. Randy Orton signed with the WWE back in 2001. 20 years later, he continues to flourish as one of the company's elite main event stars. Many of the marquee wrestlers that Orton worked with earlier in his career are long retired. The long list includes The Undertaker, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle, Batista, Shawn Michaels, Booker T and Ric Flair. Chris Jericho, Christian and Paul White are working in the rival AEW promotion. Triple H and John Cena both only wrestle on a part-time basis these days. Orton is one of the very few superstars from the Ruthless Aggression era that is still competing on a regular basis. And he doesn't plan on slowing down anytime soon. During an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Broken Skull Sessions, Orton revealed that he hopes to wrestle for at least another decade. "I'll see pictures from 5 years ago where I'm like, I gotta get back to that kind of shape. My wife brought it to my attention the other day. Back then, in 2014, when you looked like that, you thought you looked like you're never going to be happy. At 40, I want to wrestle another decade if I can. I know it's not about getting my pecs up here, like Bobby Lashley and Batista, it's about making sure my shoulder stays in. It's about longevity for me. I want to do this as long as I can. I don't see branching off to do this or that like a lot of guys do. This is my home and what I do. I am a professional wrestler." Orton signed a new contract with the WWE in late 2019. The deal reportedly keeps him with the company through 2024. The news came soon after the Viper teased a move to AEW. Orton is 14-time world champion. He is 2 reigns away from tying the record held by Flair and Cena. He turns 41 years of age on April 1st, and time is certainly on his side to match or break the historic feat. Personally, I say, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.
Oh, let me up with a bright smile on now. Put me in the dark, so won't get lost now. To the moonlight,